Now, this course is being done by educators. So we're talking teachers, we're talking about people who are specialist assistants, we're talking principals, we're talking tutors. Okay, so this course is something that's helpful for you with your kids that you work with, but we've also got to keep in mind that you also work with parents. So if you only work with the children, if you're only focused on putting things in place for the children, you're going to miss a massive opportunity. We need to look at what we can do in how we interact with parents that are going to make it easier for the children when they go home from working with you. Now, the first thing to keep in mind with parents is always, 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 whenever you can, have conversations about changes for phonological dyslexia or for visual stress. Always have those conversations in face-to-face conversations or in phone calls. Face-to-face is ideal. Now, the exception to this is when you've got a parent who, there's parents in every school who you must document everything for, or things are going to come back and hurt you later. But apart from those parents, you want face-to-face conversations, you want phone calls. Now, you want to avoid emails because emails, they take you a long time to do. They cost you time and energy. But as well as that, an email is not a conversation, okay? An email is just information being sent out there. Parents, they want to be involved. They want to see how much you understand. Not just understand about what you know, but that you understand the situation. So wherever possible, you want face-to-face conversations or you want phone calls. Something else to be aware of is you want the parent to understand exactly what condition their child is dealing with. Because one of the most frustrating things that I've seen in the last couple of months is parents who keep coming to me and saying, my child has dyslexia. And I keep asking, okay, sure, are we talking phonological dyslexia or are we talking about visual stress, also known as scotopic sensitivity or Erlen syndrome? And the parents just can't tell me what their children are dealing with, which means that no one has explained to them what their child is dealing with. And if they don't know what their child is dealing with, then they can't actually put the right things in place. They're going to, be applying things they're going to be putting coloured paper for a child with phonological dyslexia, which is going to do nothing. So make crystal clear to the parent whether or not their child has visual stress or phonological dyslexia. Make crystal clear to the parent why you believe that to be the case, what those indicators were. And also make clear that, hey, you're not an expert because really you don't want to be held accountable for things that are like this. You don't need that sort of stress on you. So explain you're not an expert, but these are the indicators that very clearly show it's highly likely your child is dealing with this particular issue. Something else with parents is that we need to re-inspire some hope and some optimism in the parents we work with. You see, so many of the parents we work with, they've tried a lot of things to help their child, and each thing that they've tried to date has failed. So they still have a child who feels stuck, they still have a child who feels bad and who's finding it difficult to pass. Maybe their child doesn't like school. So both the child and the parent have come to expect that, this is a child who's always going to score C's, not A's. Now, kids are going to live up to the expectations that are put on them, especially by their parents. So this expectation that, my child's only ever going to be a C student, my child will only ever become a tradesman. They'll never actually go and do some sort of university degree. That sort of mindset, kids will live up to that, because as soon as you hear your parents saying something like that, when you're a child, you just absorb that expectation and you suddenly drop your own standards. You're not going to try as hard. You're not going to be motivated. You're just going to drop your standards. And that's just a destructive thing for kids. So you can pick up this sort of lack of optimism in parents. You can pick up that they're feeling that when they say things like, we don't want our child to be a rocket scientist. We just want them to pass. Or, we're not expecting he'll get A's. We just want him to give it his best. You can hear in what they're saying that they've lost their hope. They've lost their sense of optimism, and they're stuck in that world of disillusionment. And in that spot, they're only going to communicate that to their kids. So really important to re-inspire those parents. One way is to just tell them about children who you've seen who had the same sort of thing, whether it was phonological dyslexia or whether it was visual stress, whatever they had. So-and-so, I knew a kid a couple of years ago, he was getting D's, he's now getting solid B's and he's loving school, he's making it look easy. And when you start to tell parents, there are other children in the same spot as your child who are now doing really well, it makes them go, really? Okay, all right. And they'll get their optimism back. And if you don't know any people like that in particular, and really, my goodness, I could list off, if I took 10 minutes to think about it, I could list off 50 kids, but that's because I work with those kids all the time. If you don't work with all those kids all the time, then you mightn't have particular stories like that. But you can talk about famous people like Albert Einstein, clear case of phonological dyslexia. Leonardo da Vinci, phonological dyslexia. Imagine if he, my goodness, you just think of these famous guys, how much easier their lives could have been. Richard Branson, rich, famous, influential, okay? Phonological dyslexia. Thomas Edison, another guy with very clear phonological dyslexia. You know, the guy invented amazing things, so many inventions. These guys are famous, they're world changers, and they're also people who were just like the kids of the parents you work with. So using these sort of examples to inspire parents is going to be fantastic, to get those parents to raise their expectations to, oh, well, my child can get Bs. You know what, with the right help, my child might even get As. You know, to raise those expectations, because then the kids are going to pick that up. Something else you need to do with parents is to send home a package of work. If the parents are willing, send home a package of work that the parents can do at home with the kids. Okay, so whatever is missing in those children's skills, you can send packages of work that will address those skills. Make sure they're personalized, make sure they're specific for exactly what that child needs, but why not send a package of work home? Why should it be that those schools are full of kids sent there as though school is going to fix it up? You know what? They're at home for more hours than they're at school. Let's use some of that time productively, and most parents will jump at the opportunity. Also, I highly recommend encourage parents that there is a parent dyslexia course online. Now, right now, you're doing the course for educators, and the parent dyslexia course is very different. It covers things like self-esteem. It covers things like how to get the best for your school or how to communicate to your school about what your child needs. It covers a lot of sort of mindset issues that parents have. It's very different from what you're doing. What you're doing is very technical. As an educator, this course is quite technical. The course for parents, though, is very straightforward. It's designed so the average mum or dad can completely and thoroughly understand what their child needs to move forward. And so I highly recommend you point parents in the direction of this course. It's at www.dyslexiaimprovements.com. It's really quite cheap. You compare how much it costs to the thousands of dollars that parents are spending for psychologist assessments and all that. It's cheap as can be, it's effective, and it changes kids' lives. So please, please, please do send parents to be aware that course exists, because most of them have been looking for something like that for years, and also to encourage them that it will be well worth their time.